Hey everybody, what's up from Roll, Minnesota, your state of skate? Hey, I'm Butch Lehman, and today we're in for another episode of Rolling Reactions. Alright, so in today's episode, this is long overdue, but we need to visit Brian Shima, one of the original legends of rollerblading. Now, Shima is an absolute madman skating with power and authority, and today we're going to take a look at 3 of his later sections, including Leading the Blind, which I think is one of the best sections out there. We'll also take a look at his part in the NIMH video, and finally, we'll wrap it up with another one of my favorite videos, Drip Drop. Anyway, I invite you guys to join me for this one, because today, we're watching Brian Shima, and it's going to be wild. Let's take a look. Alright, I think we'll start with the 4x4 wheels video, Leading the Blind, and I could make the argument that this is the greatest rollerblading video ever produced. Now, we could probably engage in a weeks-long debate over that, not actually come to any actual consensus, but I think one thing we could all agree on is that this video was very influential in the history of inline skating, and Brian Shima is one of the reasons why. Now, I mentioned this earlier, but Brian skates with an authority, a passion, a control, consistency, and speed that's really unmatched out there, and one of the reasons why I think he's so highly regarded in our community. You can see it in this loading dock gap as he takes all the speed. And one of the other things that's worth mentioning is his consistency and control on lines. He holds the really long royale. He's able to wind up into the fakie 720 over this gap. That's just really impressive. And both of those tricks, very difficult to do, so to link them up together, super impressive. Got the 540 out on that one, hauling in some speed. The backslide to 270 out on a big drop ledge like that. Got a lot of amplitude, a lot of danger, and I think that's one of the reasons why people love watching Brian skating so much. In fact, we're going up the rail here. That takes a lot more speed and control than I think most people realize. In fact, you'd think he's done, but he's not done yet. He's still got a full kind grind coming down that rail. And one of those was right foot, one was left foot. By the way, I like the second angle of the fish brain. Brian Shima has some of the best fish brains out there, and you'll see that on ledges, how he has a signature crouch, the way he sits on it, and he can hold those things forever. This rail's pretty dangerous. You've got the perpendicular rail down at the bottom, which could easily clip the shins, or worse. That's one of the things that I wouldn't want to do it. We'll say that. Got another fish brain, gap over to back royale. And all that speed he took in down at the bottom, it looked like that wall was coming up pretty quickly, so the clip cut out early, but hopefully he was all right on that one. Speaking of lines, we'll take this one into true spin topsail, jumps over the ledge into true spin Mizu, and he's not done yet, because why not add a 360 topsail at the end of the line on a down rail? It's pretty wild, the level of consistency that Brian has. I like this little toe tap to 270 out at fast plant. That made all of the style. Chef's kiss on that one. Really cool transfer there. And again, he's not done. There's still this really long ledge, and he's going to fish brain it. That's that signature stereotypical Brian Shima fish brain I was talking about earlier. Like, look at this. He's just on there forever. He is locked in. Going through the trees. That clip is reminiscent to me of the Alex Broskow 540 through the trees. Another fish brain. This time we got the outspin fish brain. Very difficult spin into that one. It's kind of contrary to how the body positioning wants to go. Iconic clip right there, that drop ledge. Look at this ledge. This drop ledge is wild. Goes back royale through it. Like, it looks like it'd be really fun to skate, minus the drop of death over the side. Another iconic clip here. Perhaps one of the greatest, if not the greatest, alley-oop topsails in blading history. Next, we'll follow it up with the NIMH video, and I believe this premiered in 2011, and it's wild to me to think that this was over 10 years ago that this video was first published. Once again, though, Brian Shima's bringing in the speed with the big wall ride there, and he'll drop in fakie to the drainage ditch and take a big zero spin over top of it with some less than ideal water there to fall into. Looks pretty swampy, pretty gross. You wouldn't want to fall into that. Nice line. This time we'll get a little bit creative going over the plants. No grinds involved, but a couple little gaps. And we've got a ledge here, setting up zero top horn. Really steezy, really controlled and smooth on that. You know, I gotta say, I really miss watching Brian Shima skate. This is bringing back all sorts of memories. This was like the golden era for skating for me when I was out there doing a lot of street skating, you know, in those high school and college years. So this takes me back. For For those of you that are unaware, Brian Shima suffered a career-ending injury. It was pretty brutal. Massive gap where he came up a little bit short. That was really cool, by the way, the stall on the tree trunk. Sea ledge going into fish brain, another Brian Shima fish brain. But yeah, it was really tragic when that happened, and you know, he was putting it together. He was skating at the highest level, I think, of his whole career at the time. So really unfortunate, but I am thankful for all that Brian Shima has done for this community. And even after that accident, he's still been a source of inspiration to so many people out there. We'll bring it in fakie to 0 top acid. A little shifty out too. I like that. Now we're skating in a pool. That's like straight up vertical stall on that one. Going up the rail again into true spin Machio. It's pretty slick. Forward 360. Look at this. This ledge has like its own perfect like little launch to it. I don't even know what to call that. It's like a 0 fish brain with the drag of the H block up on the upper element. Speaking of 0 fish brains, that was a 0 fish brain. I don't know what this is supposed to be. If this is just like a makeshift skate park or an actual skate park. Really weird angle for that clip, but using the picnic table. You know, one of the classic items to skate going all the way back to the early days of inline skating, picnic tables. They're certainly well supplied around most places. Got the outspin fish line on that one. You know, let's take a fish brain up on the top ledge. Going right out to the street. A little bit dangerous if you're going to do something like that. You need to make sure there's no traffic, that you have spotters available. Maybe somebody to catch you from going out into the street. Spots like this I really like too. I wish we had more stuff like this around in Minnesota. These like drainage ditch areas. This looks really fun. I bet it's way more difficult to skate than it looks. Spots like those always are. Really cool gap up and over. This is one of my favorite lines in this video. You'll see it here in just a second. Like the blind topsole stall. Then you'll go up the Royale to topsole back down. Really cool and really tight-knit quarters to work in. Get another line. Really fast gap to Royale. Backslide. Don't know if we've really seen a whole lot of backslides. There was that backslide 270 out earlier and leading the blind. This is another spot that's just mind-boggling how well he's able to session this thing. Such an unconventional spot to skate, but he'll go topsole to like soul grind around. I don't know, guys. He's not done yet either. Got back Royale to true spin Machio. This last trick here, this one reminds me of his ender in Killer Boots, which is one of my favorite sections from Brian Shima. It's like the up and over wall ride. And this spot looks really cool. Like, this is perfect for a gap. It's even got the little lip on the launch. We'll take a big 540 over. Flawless landing and roll away, too. Second angle from up in the trees. Cool angle choice on that one. If that's not enough air tricks for you, this next one's pretty massive as well. Coming in super fast, 360 over both rails, back into the bank. Again, the flawless landing and roll away. You even got John Bellino celebrating in the foreground, which is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's like hard rock meets hard rock. I'm just noticing how often, like, so far both sections had Shima skating a fence in some capacity. This is unreal. This spot choice, the trick, like, if you didn't get that fast plant, that med spin in just at the right time, that could be super deadly. Finally, we'll close things out with Drip Drop, which is another 4x4 video, and I think this is one of the later sections that Brian produced before his accident, and this is another absolute banger. You're going to see the same level of style and speed and technicality that Brian's brought into all of his profiles, and already he's getting pulled behind a car for this opening trick, going all the way up the wall, somehow stalling on it on the way back down and in. Pretty wild. In fact, we got the wall ride to 180 out, again bringing in the speed. Now putting on a little session on these ledges. Got the 0 topsole, the in-spin sole 360 out. Look at all the speed he brought into this out ledge. That vert wall was pretty steep. And he's putting on a gap clinic here too. Bunch of different gaps on that. Look at this rail. This thing is a thing of death. He'll go Royale on it, but it gets cut off early, forcing the early exit from the rail. I don't know. There's a lot that could go wrong with that, but perfect spot for somebody like Brian. Takes a speed check here, and now he's going to 360 into the bank, and then 360 out again. That was 360s. Perfect grab. There is no shortage of amplitude when it comes to any of Brian Shima's sections, and we've even got another fakey 720 here, proving it that every trick is just hammer potential. Brooklyn Bank's pretty famous spot there. Got an alley-oop fish. Just caught the curb on that one. So this time he's going to make no mistake and cover it a little bit extra just to be on the safe side. He almost loses it down at the bottom of that. God, that could have been deadly. Backslide, hits a little Luke hang out for style points. We'll transfer over to the side rail. Just a thing of beauty. You can't help but respect the level of skating that Brian brings in. Even here on the 540 out. If I sound like I'm starstruck, it's because I am. Massive 360 into the bank, landing right at the top to preserve the speed. And check out this transfer. Like a big wall ride into the loose plywood down at the bottom. It's unreal. He is a stuntsman, everybody. Says the sidewalk is closed, but that's really no problem for Brian Shima because he can just gap it. Fast plant to fish stall. The 360 back in, I feel like, would be extremely difficult on that. To be able to, like, pivot off the 1 foot and still spin back in. A lot of fast planting happening there. Making spots out of nothing. I have a lot of respect for people that skate non-traditional obstacles, and I do think that's becoming more commonplace in today's skating, where spot selection is more important than it ever was before. This is really cool, too. He's able to true fish right through that gap. This was on a cover of one of the magazines. I think it was One Magazine. It's an iconic photo. So he'll ride through off the building. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Rolling Reactions featuring Brian Shima. I've said it many times on this video, but Brian Shima is one of the legends of inline skating, and I think we all owe him a debt of gratitude for the level of style, consistency, and amplitude that he infused into every one of his parts, often putting his body on the line for the progression of the sport, as well as for all of our entertainment. So my hat's off to Brian Shima on that one. Anyway, guys, I'm Butch Lehman of Roll, Minnesota, reminding you all to stay safe, stay healthy, and get out there and do some rollerblading. We'll see y'all with next video. Until then, everybody, peace.